Hey guys, welcome to another video. This is Red Shadow, and today I wanted to talk a little bit more about one of my favorite games of all time, World of Warcraft. And the reason why I want to talk about it again, this is I think the second time since I put up my favorite game series, three-parter about World of Warcraft, but it's just because within the last 6 months or so I've had a chance to play for a couple of those months. I've had a chance to jump into some of the newer content as well as use my level 97 at this point Death Knight to go back and do some content from earlier expansions, because that's just how I roll. I solo the old stuff. I don't play alongside other people for current content. So I've had a chance to play a lot of stuff. I've also been watching a lot of YouTube videos, a whole handful of channels that I love that are dedicated to, or mostly dedicated to, World of Warcraft. Channels such as WoW Crendor, Novel 87, Bellular Gaming, Preach Gaming, Nixium Machinima. I feel like I should have maybe checked into this a little bit more before I started trying to roll through these channel names. There's others, Kelric. Danger Dolan. These are all, like I said, these are all channels that are either like solely World of Warcraft or they talk a lot about World of Warcraft. And sometimes when I can't play or when I'm curious about something but I don't want to sit in front of the computer and read, I can sit down and watch some videos by these people. They talk about current, like the upcoming patch 6.2, all the Warlords of Draenor stuff, Mists of Pandaria, all the previous expansions, Vanilla WoW. They talk about classes, specs, PvP, questing, leveling, collecting mounts, pets. It's like everything that you could ever imagine. I love WoW so much, and when I'm able to pay for a month or two here and there, I will do it. But when I'm not able to pay, I can kind of live out my WoW, my WoW time vicariously through these people who put up all kinds of videos for them. But right now, I'm almost to the end of my second month back and my first stint with the new expansion, Warlords of Draenor. So I've been playing a lot of it. Like I said, I'm up to level 97, but it's crazy how I went into the new content and I started playing it. It's very cinematic storytelling. Like, I think the last two expansions, like Cataclysm, well, maybe even Wrath of the Lich King, really started it from what I could see, but it was minute. Cataclysm expanded, Mists of Pandaria really expanded, and Warlords of Draenor seems to have perfected the cinematic means of telling the storyline, especially as they introduced me to the conflict in Warlords of Draenor. It was really, really cool how they did it. And it spills you into your garrison, which is a brand new concept for this time around, sort of like your own personal capital city, hub quest area that you can do all kinds of things in. Kind of neat. Although I understand what it was. It was an answer to the fact that a lot of people, once they did the looking for dungeon and looking for raid type stuff, you would just queue up for something and then you'd go sit in the capital city, talk in trades chat, maybe go to the auction house, but you'd spend a whole lot of time sitting around waiting for a group to form that you could join with and go run raids and dungeons. And so by giving the garrison, you gave everybody a place of their own and a bunch of specially customized to that experience quests and whatnot that they could do while they're waiting for that kind of stuff about. So it was a cool idea, but for me, like it engrossed me for a while, but only because I was questing in the first zone. I can't remember even the name of that zone at the moment, but that first zone that you really quest in, I was questing in it coming back to the garrison. It was close by. I could hearth back to it, but I could then run to my missions and it wasn't so bad. But the moment that you fly to the next zone and the next zone and your garrison is still sitting in that first zone, all of a sudden it's not so much fun to go back and do stuff there. It did push me to go out and quest and try to level up more and learn more lore. running into NPCs and all that kind of stuff, seeing this world. But I started to slip away from what I found to be fun initially about the garrisons. So right now, garrison's kind of a back burner thing for me. What I have been doing here lately has actually been running old raids and dungeons from previous expansions, which is something I have done in all the previous expansions. When I started playing a Wrath of the Lich King and my character got to be like 50 or 60, I went to those raids and dungeons that you would do at level 20, 30, 40, and I would just go through and solo them. And then when Cataclysm came along, I bumped up to stuff that was a little bit more advanced. And when Mists of Pandaria was out, I started doing like Wrath of the Lich King level stuff. And now that Warlords of Draenor is out, I've done some Cataclysm level stuff. I know I'm paying $50 a month to do a bunch of old stuff, or to do a bunch of stuff that I'm OP for, so to speak, for what I have. But I was thinking the other day, I've actually not seen too many of the YouTubers that I watch cover this particular idea much, but not a lot of people will talk about what is their favorite expansion and what they love about it. Also, not a lot of people talk about their favorite zones, and I've wanted to do some sort of a zone video or series of videos, and I may still do it. So I'm not really going to get into my favorite zones, so to speak, but having debuted during Wrath of the Lich King for me in 2009, playing a lot in Cataclysm, playing somewhat in Mists of Pandaria, and now a couple months of Warlords of Draenor, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that Cataclysm is my favorite expansion. I may have mentioned that in my favorite game series or the other video that I've done, but I'm reiterating it here. It has not changed. Warlords of Draenor is cool. Mists of Pandaria was okay, but Cataclysm to me was the ultimate. It was the crux of what WoW has been all about. I don't know how often I've shown this or not, but I'm just gonna... That's above my couch there is my Cataclysm banner that hangs up on the wall with Deathwing, belching fire out. I love Cataclysm. I can't believe that a game company took a chance and said, it came out in 2010, the game came out in 2004, they go and they look at every one of the subscribers, every one of the people playing their game, and they said, you've had 6 years to tread upon these grounds, to, get to know and get to familiarize yourself with and even get to love landmarks, cities, NPCs, and whatnot. Now we're going to take this world of ours and we're going to break it. We're going to change things. Zones are going to change and look and feel. Things are going to be destroyed. A zone that was meant for this level is now going to be up to this level. A zone that was always dead and nobody was ever there, we're going to try to maybe do some stuff to change that, maybe get some interest in it. They did something that, as opposed to the previous 2 expansions before, where they were like, here's a new landmass and it'll be up in this place, or it'll be over here and you can go explore it. They're like, no, we're just going to break the world and change things, and zones that you could never get to before will now be open and they'll now have something in them. And it was just so awesome. Like I said, I can't give it up to Blizzard anymore than I'm saying right now. Just bravo to you, Blizzard, for doing that. That was taking a chance. That was doing something that wasn't predictable, which is just not a lot of companies do that these days. A lot of people will slam Blizzard for taking the safe route in a lot of ways nowadays with their expansions, or mainly with their patches and whatnot. But they really did something amazing in my eyes with Cataclysm. Then they followed it up with Mists of Pandaria. And I don't know that there are too many people who play WoW who can say, wow, Mists of Pandaria was amazing. I don't hate it. I really enjoyed it. I love the Asian cultural tinge to it, and the Pandarans are cool. I would have liked to have seen them give us 2 new races and not just one that can choose which side they're going to go to. I mean, it's a cool idea to do that, but why not 2 races that could have done that? But to give us only the Pandarans and kind of make you, well, now you got to roll a panda. That was kind of annoying that they did it that way. And also, and this is a complaint with Warlords of Draenor. Warlords of Draenor is a time travel expansion, but it's an alternate time travel thing. It's not literally, this is something that happened back then, and now they're going to time travel and try to change things now. It's sort of like even like an alternate version of the past. It's so confusing and so convoluted. It's fun. It's a nice new world to explore. But in the end, when it's time travel, you just feel like none of it's really going to matter. If you stop these people from doing what they're doing, then it just makes it all disappear. How are you going to sustain in the next expansion and the next expansion the idea of this time travel element? I think they painted themselves in a little bit of a corner. But my biggest complaint with this so far is this. Except for maybe the case of Vanilla WoW. I don't know because I didn't play it and I don't really know exactly what the lore of the end game content is. But with Burning Crusade, with Wrath of the Lich King, with Cataclysm, with Mists of Pandaria, and now with Warlords of Draenor, even though there's 2 factions in this world, Alliance and Horde, and they fight against each other, and you would think that would be the point of the entirety of the story, for the most part, it's always, well, we're rivals, but we have to work together against this common foe that we have, the Lich King, Deathwing, yada yada yada. Everything that's ever seems to be done never really emphasizes anything that has to do with, you're an Alliance player? Well, guess what? In this expansion, the end game is all going to be about that fucking Horde. You're a Hordey? Oh, well, in this expansion, you get to take on the Alliance. Where is that element to this game? Why is there 2 factions at all? Why isn't there just 1? Or why isn't there 50? You've given no reason for these 2 factions to exist other than minor storytelling and stuff like PvP. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think it'll never happen, more than likely, but I think they should have an expansion in the future where, as the Horde, you have a storyline that takes you towards taking on King Varian Wrynn of the Alliance, and vice versa. The Alliance are going after whoever's the leader of the Horde now, some fucking orc. I don't know. I'm an Alliance character. I'm sorry, Hordies, but I've played very little Horde, and I just couldn't get into that side of it. But that's what I'm saying. I have that feeling of conflict and that feeling of belonging to my faction. Why isn't the game geared towards that? I know you would say, well, if the Alliance had a storyline that took them against the Horde and vice versa, when the next expansion comes along or the endgame content comes along, who wins? Who comes out on top? But then, like I said, it undermines the whole idea of why in the world do we even have a 2-faction system? I don't know. I just don't get it. Maybe someone can explain that to me, but it just to me, it doesn't quite work. I can't wrap my mind around it. It's like there are enemies, but we have to work together with them to take out the Lich King, to take out Deathwing, and to take out whatever the hell was going on in Mists of Pandaria. In Warlords of Draenor, it's the Iron Horde, but it's this alternate timeline version of the Horde, and when you get introduced in the Warlords of Draenor to this, you've got Horde figures and an Alliance figures working together against this off-putting, vile, corrupt version of a corrupt thing. Because I'm sorry, but I look at it as Alliance being the good guys and the Horde being the bad guys. That's the way it was presented to me in the first place. That it was good and bad. Everybody who was on Horde side was like evil. It was like the Sith. And everybody who was on the Alliance was like the Jedi. And that's just kind of the way that it is. That's how I look at it. in World of Warcraft, and I just get the idea that some of the people who are actually involved in the making of World of Warcraft, they don't see it that way. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. It kind of upsets me that it was set up in such a way, and yet it's never been followed through, that we take them on, they take us on, and that should be storyline, end game, and all that. Unless they're going to save it for a final expansion, and then they'll just say that in the end, if you and your cohorts take out the king or whoever's the leader of the horde in this ultimate final epic raid battle, then you'll be greeted with a cutscene that says Horde wins, Alliance wins, or whatever, and then World of Warcraft rides off into the sunset and gets replaced by something brand new. Who knows? But yeah, I guess that was just my thoughts on it. I really still enjoy WoW like you wouldn't believe. It's still in my top 10 and more than likely in my top 5 favorite games of all time. I'm really glad to be back and playing it now and enjoying it, because when there's something to do and I enjoy it, it makes that $15 a month worth it to me. And I wanted to talk about my favorite expansion. Cataclysm always will be my favorite expansion. Because I like I said, I played for almost a good year before. I played for a good year before I was yanked away from internet for a few months, and then by the time I was able to come back to Cataclysm, it was like this world that I had spent so many hours in had been changed, and like I said, it still just blows my mind. Anyway, I could talk about that forever, but I'll wrap it up here. I just wanted to talk about some World of Warcraft. Thanks for watching if you did, and I'll see you next time.